Good Midwest morning, everyone. This is Nicole. Your mobile blog is for toctown.com, and today I have a few what I like to call random changes, as well as tips, tools, and artisan admin techniques, and hopefully I stay in frame throughout the whole process. So let me take a sip of my tea. Okay. And the first thing I want to do is get my traveler's notebook out of the way and pretty much share with you, like I gave a sort of kind of an introduction of what my traveler's notebook is going to be looking like for 2022. Speckled Fawn B6, and I've already made some changes, so I'm going to try and do this one hand, because truth be told, I did one hand for my nails and decided to do the other hand another time. So I'm going to get the one-handed tour of the changes. Alright, I already went through the notebooks from Jet Pens. The previous one was lined and I switched it to the back, which is going to be my commonplace book, but I did not know when I was going to receive the graph one. So of course, when I saw it was available, I picked it up and decided to go ahead and purchase it for the holiday season, and load it up with all of my notes, all of my winter workshop tips, tools, and techniques on, as a beginning sewist, and also an artisan, upcycle some projects that I let go by the wayside. So this is not only going to be a commonplace, but this is going to be all of the, I guess, compilations of 5 years of what I've been able to establish here on the Express, even though I'm not traveling right now as of this year, or maybe even the next. I still have room in order to organize all of the previous videos, as well as the photos that I've been taking while traveling throughout and about nationally as well as internationally. So this book came right on time and took the first place in the first pocket. I love the configuration, as I mentioned before. It lends itself to just opening up my traveler's notebook cover and writing in my notes. I don't have to be specific, as far as numbering the pages, as well as title or topic. I just pretty much load it up and get it ready for 2022. Okay, and I am going to keep it's not a tassel nor a tag, but the little ribbon that comes with the insert. This one's a notebook, so I'm going to keep it here. The others I've already went through, and of course I'll link it above, and this is still my commonplace, and pretty much the pockets are empty for right now, and I didn't switch out the pens, so I'm keeping the 2 pens that I had before in the same notebook. Okay, the next topic I want to share about today is something I also highlighted in IGTV, which is the way I like to see and visualize what I'm doing with my time in terms of just as an artisan. I hope I have this right. This is the Spiraldex by Kent Oz, and pretty much, and I'll try and go into even more detail at another time, I'm going to switch out my camera for a 1080p, so that way I can, pretty much share with you how I use my Spiraldex as well as the Chronodex. And not only that, I have a calendar to go ahead and incorporate in my traveler's notebook. So go ahead and get your cup of tea or whatever you like to sip on while watching the video. So okay, I did say good Midwest morning in case I didn't mention that before. Okay, so pretty much I put the date of, what I'm working on, when I'm working on it, as of the day, not whether or not it was past due or, you know, future planning, but I put the current date and time that I start a project or hope to finish the project during that day. If not, then of course all of my notes concerning this project will be written here. As far as, you know, what needs to be done next, I can always split the page in half and then use, you know, before and after kind of scenario. But just looking at it here, it's pretty simple to use because 12 noon as well as 12 a.m. are right along the same lines. And just like an analog clock, 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. is right here. And of course 6 a.m. will be on the inside. And then you come around to the outside to the next day, which is 12 a.m. the following date. So when you have a time block, which I showed here on another video without trying to share too much information, when you want to block it out, you just simply, you know, color it in. You don't have to use black. You can use any color, you know, that is available to you for start and stop. And then pretty much you shade in the area that you want to dedicate. Like I want to dedicate this to customer service as far as being online and not on site. So whenever I'm available online, I like to annotate some of the things that I share, as well as the tips and the topics that I talk about. Okay, so next is the Chronodex by Patrick Ying. And this is available also for free online. But I think this is for a standard size traveler's notebook. And I did print it out on 8.5 by 11 paper. So I don't know which way you're viewing this, but this is going to be directed towards me. So even though this is a little bit more complicated to figure out, I'm going to try and pull it up closer so you see that this is 12 p.m. This is 6 a.m. and you have variable increments as far as height, and you know, digital time is by 15 minutes within the hour. So this is a little bit more complicated to navigate, but it's not impossible. You know, so pretty much you would dictate your time still clockwise, but you wouldn't be able to go into the evening as far as I look at it, and pretty much working, you know, 24 hours is not always a good thing concerning your mental health. So I'll go more into this also in another date and time, but this is the blank version of the same sheet, and he has the month at a glance here. Hope you can see that. And then of course the whole 7 day, actually it's 5 days, and that's why I was like, why don't you go into the PM hours? So this is technically for your work hours during, you know, maybe a 9 to 5 or however you structure your day. Then pretty much you can see it from a artistic point of view. You color in, you know, whichever section is your focus for the day, as well as you can highlight some sections for due dates for another day. So that's my brief introduction into this. I'll go, of course, more into detail at another date and time. So what I wanted to share with you today was another product that I picked up in order to make sure I'm using my paper and as well as my time more effectively. So instead of drawing, you know, all of my month calendars as far as the Chronodex or even the Calendex and Spiraldex is concerned, I decided to go ahead and get a stamp, and it's super small, but I figure each square can be used in terms of just what date a project is due, as well as what day I need to focus on during that month. So I'm going to be using the Calendex system because I realized why so many calendars were so frustrating to navigate was because the columns were just too small. So Spiraldex by Patrick Ying also comes in a stamp. It's not sold by them, but I found it on the Etsy shop. I'll go ahead and link it down below if it's still available. If not, you can always search Etsy for Spiraldex, and there are several makers who will ship. And I'm assuming that it's overseas because it did take a very long time to arrive. And last but not least, I have two inks. One is an archival ink, which I've used from the beginning. And the other one is a StazOn ink, which I like to use for that monthly calendar I just showed you. And pretty much I'm not going to be switching out colors in between the two stamps because I'm going to pretty much use them in the same manner, in the same way for the next few years. So I decided to go ahead and use what I have as opposed to pick up something new. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you today. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them down below. And all of this information, of course, is available, on a link down below in the comment section. I'm Nicole. Your mobile blog is for TOC Town on the Express. Until we meet online or face to face, be blessed.